James here from allamericanguardian.com. Okay, so I've been having a little technical difficulties with this camera here. I thought I was recording for like 5 minutes and then realized I wasn't, so I was just talking to the camera for no reason. Anyhow, I think we are recording now. Everything looks good. So, anyhow, we've been talking about the things that you need to get a website set up. We already talked about the hosting, or I'm sorry, we already talked about the domain name purchase yesterday. Today we're going to talk about the hosting. I'm not going to get into like super technical details, but I feel like I'm going to try to give you a good foundation to be able to make an informed decision to pick a decent web hosting company to set up your website on, so that you're not just randomly picking a hosting company and praying that everything goes well. I'd like to start off by saying there's some hosting companies out there that I would stay far away from. The first one is GoDaddy. Okay, GoDaddy, some things that they do right are customer service. They do have good customer service. If you have a problem, there's always someone available. They're really good on the phone. Typically, when I talk to them, I don't think they outsource their customer service. It usually sounds like someone who is in the United States, who's native English speaker, but their hosting is not good. Something else that they do well is domain name service. We talked about that yesterday. There's nothing wrong with their domain name service other than the fact that it's overpriced. Also, when you go through buying the domain name service, if you're not savvy about these things, you're going to end up spending even more money because they try to upsell you on making you think that you need to pay for email service, which you're going to get free with the hosting providers that I recommend. They're going to make you think that you need some type of marketing package where they're going to try to, rank your website or make your website appear faster or something. You don't need any of that stuff, okay? They're just trying to make money, nothing against them. They're just doing business, but you don't need that stuff, and I'm trying to just give you the basics here of what you need so that you don't spend any extra money that you don't need to. So for GoDaddy, I would stay far away from their hosting, and the reason I say that is because over the years, I've built many websites, and I've gone in and repaired many websites for a lot of clients, and typically, I would say at least 8 times out of 10, 80% of the time, when I take over a client site and things are running very slowly, I can almost guarantee you, I could bet money on it and make money on it 8 times out of 10 that they're on a GoDaddy server, okay? And the reason why, my personal belief on why this happens, you think, oh, it's this big company, they're a multi-million-dollar company, their hosting should be great, but I think the way they make a lot of their money is they jam-pack their servers with people who are paying the lowest amount of money for hosting, and they put hundreds and hundreds of people on one server, and it's overloaded, and all of these people that are running websites on one server, which is one computer basically, are sharing the resources of that server, and so it makes things run really slow. So I typically take my clients off of GoDaddy if things are running slow and move them over to one of the hosting companies that I know runs a lot faster. Just did this with one of my clients in the past month or two here. Her website runs way better. She's way happier. She's saving money. I mean, it's a win-win-win. So anyhow, stay away from GoDaddy for hosting. Don't fall into that trap. There's another huge company out there called EIG. It stands for Endurance International Group, okay? And they operate a little bit differently than GoDaddy. They're not just one big company. What they are, one big hosting company. What they are is an acquisition type company. They go around and acquire smaller hosting companies, and they'll take over, 20, 30, 40, 50, even like 70, 80,000 clients at a time by acquiring one hosting company, and they'll scoop up all those clients. So worldwide, they've got over 4 million clients on hosting, but under about 50 or 60 different brands. So I'm going to go over some of the brands that are popular, just because you've probably seen them on the internet, or if you go searching for hosting, you're probably going to run across them, or you may have already seen advertising or heard advertising from them. Now, they do, I believe they do something very similar to GoDaddy to make the company more profitable. is they jam pack their servers with a lot of people, which makes the servers run slower. It makes the bandwidth and everything much slower. All these people are on one server using up all the same resources, and it's just not a good combination. Okay, so some of those companies that I would recommend staying away from are Bluehost. Looking at the list here, Bluehost, Fat Cow, Free Yellow. What's another big one on here? Host9, HostGator, and HostGator's in Houston. I think that's their home. I think that's their home base is Houston. I see the building when I pass by over on like right off of 290 and 610 area. So HostGator, steer clear of them. Host9, Bluehost, Host Monster. What's another one on here? Intuit websites. Intuit is, I believe, what powers TurboTax. So apparently they have a website service. Stay away from them. iPower and iPower Web. What else is popular on here? Oh, PowWeb, POWweb.com. Stay away from them. PureHost, Site5, that's another big one. Let's see if there's any more on here that I recognize. Oh, there was another one I skipped over here. A Small Orange. That's a popular hosting company, A Small Orange. So I would say the biggest ones on here, though, that you need to steer clear of, that, you know, a lot of people use, so they're popular, is Bluehost, HostGator, and Host9. That's probably the biggest ones. Another one is IX Web Hosting and iPower Web. I think I might have mentioned that one. So steer clear of these guys just because they are owned by EIG and they're really just trying to make a lot of profit. Again, nothing against them. They're running business. They're running a service that's legit. They're not trying to scam you or anything that I know of. It's just I don't think they run good hosting. Their servers tend to be slow with these companies. So, and like I said, I've got personal experience with GoDaddy just because almost everyone that I get with a GoDaddy hosting has a really slow website. Okay, so now on to the companies that I do have good experience with. And when you're just starting a business, okay, you don't need a dedicated server, okay? I mean, unless it's something, a really specific reason, you really probably do not need a dedicated server. So there's no reason to jump into building a website and spending $200 or $300 a month on hosting for a dedicated server. I mean, unless you just got a ton of money laying around and you don't mind spending it. But I mean, most entry-level hosting packages for websites run about $5-10 a month. $5 to $10 a month, okay? So some of them will advertise. This is a Downtown Host. This company is actually, I think they're based out of like the owners down in Brazil or somewhere, but which may sound kind of shady for some people. They're somewhere in South America. However, that's just where they run the business side of things from. The servers that they rent, that they own or whatever, where they put your website on, are based out of Dallas. Okay, so Dallas, Texas. So when you host with Downtown Host, your website's actually stored, all the hardware and everything for your site is in Dallas, Texas, in a data center. And it's a data center that a lot of companies use. So it's not just theirs, but they run the business from South America. Anyhow, these start at about, it says $295 per month, okay? I don't know if you can see this on Downtown Host website. I'm having to do things this way on this little iPad because I don't have my laptop up and running. I don't have my power cord for it, so I'm just having to do things like this until I get back to the house from Denver. So this is Downtown Host. I've been with them for I've got websites that I've been hosting with them for probably 7 or 8 years now, maybe even closer to 9 years. It's been a while, time kind of flies. So you see they've got some packages that start at like $295 per month. However, you have to pay for 3 years in advance to get that price. So if you're going to pay monthly, it's going to be $495 per month, which is still pretty cheap. And remember what I said in the last video, you don't want to go paying for services 2 or 3 years in advance until you have a good track record with a company and you know that they're going to be reliable. I mean, I'm sitting here telling you this company's reliable, but Still, until you know for yourself, I would just pay monthly. And then at some point, let's say you get into it for, a year or so, and you're like, okay, this company is really working out great. I'm gonna go ahead and buy 2 or 3 years worth of hosting from them so I can get it at a cheaper price, which is totally cool. So that's Downtown Host. And something else that I haven't mentioned is there's 2 major types of hosting when you start looking at hosting out there. There's Windows hosting and there's Linux hosting. Most people who are inexperienced are going to think, oh, I need Windows, because we're all used to using Microsoft Windows. Windows is a very popular term that you hear thrown around all the time, and you see it, and you use Microsoft Word, and you use Microsoft Excel spreadsheets and things like that. So however, when you're building websites, you really want to use Linux hosting, okay? That's the most popular type of hosting. It's going to have all the features that I'm talking about. There's a lot of people that will argue online. I've seen arguments in forums on which hosting's better. And people make good points and bad points for each one. There's pros and cons. However, Linux hosting is the most popular. That's what you're going to see out there. And so, when it's like heads or tails, it's a toss of the coin thing. I'm going to go with what most people are doing, because it's just going to be a lot easier to get answers to problems. That's what most people are using, and there's going to be a lot more data out there, if you do run into a problem or something. And also, that's what most people, like third-party people that design software, are going to be designing it for whatever is the most popular. So go with Linux hosting. Downtown Host is good. These guys, like I said, as far as customer support goes, they're really good. And I'm trying to think of their names right now. They're on the tip of my tongue. It's usually 2 different guys that will respond. And when I think of their names, I'll tell you in another video. But sometimes, I'll submit a support ticket for a small problem I'm having or a question I have at maybe midnight or 1 a.m. They don't necessarily have 24/7 support. Sometimes they will get back to me within 30 minutes or so. Other times I may not get a response until like 6 a.m. on my support ticket, which is still fine. We're not running anything here that's that critical that has to be, I don't know what type of business you have, but we're not running anything that super critical. So I don't mind, a few hour delay in a response from them. However, for my main business now, All American Guardian, I really did want the 24-hour on-call, personnel to be able to reach out to if I'm having any kind of problem. If it's 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and I'm up working on stuff for clients and I'm having an issue with my hosting, I want to be able to get a hold of somebody. So that leads us to the next hosting provider, which is InMotion. Okay, InMotion Hosting also offers some of the basic hosting packages, which say they start at about $5.99 here per month. That $5.99 per month is if you get 2 years in advance. Now, it's $6.99 if you pay for a year in advance. One drawback to using InMotion Hosting for just a basic website hosting package like this, a starter package, is that they're not going to let you pay monthly. That price per month is just the yearly price divided by 12. They're going to make you, I believe they're going to make you pay the whole year in advance, okay? Because they just want their money up front, because it's a small amount of money. It's like $60, $70 for the whole year. So they're not going to let you pay it out monthly. So if you don't have that kind of money right now to put into this, and you're like really on a shoestring budget and you're bootstrapping this yourself with your own funds, you may want to start off with like a Downtown Host, where you can just pay $5 a month every month until you know if your business is going to work out or whatever, until you get more funds coming in. You can always change hosting companies later, and we'll talk about that in a different video, because that's a whole nother topic, but it's really not that big a deal. You can change hosting companies. So you could start off with something like Downtown Host and then upgrade to InMotion Hosting, where you've got that 24/7 support. Something else is that with InMotion Hosting, I'm not on the basic plan. I'm actually on a VPS server, so that's a virtual private server. I pay more money. It's like 40 or 50 bucks a month. And I do pay monthly. I don't pay like a whole year in advance or anything. But that VPS is a lot faster. I don't know how to explain exactly, other than if you took a server and you represented it with like a pie chart and you divide it up into like say 8 or 10 pieces of pie. I've got a piece of that pie, and that section of the server, those resources are kind of carved out for me to use for my website. And so it gives you, it's kind of like a semi-dedicated server. It's not a dedicated server, but they do put less people on those servers, on the VPS servers, and you've kind of got a piece of that pie, a piece of the server carved out for you to use. So it responds a lot faster, and it can serve up your web pages a lot faster to visitors and just have less issues with downtime and things like that. This video is already 16 minutes long, so I think we're going to cut it here, and I'll pick up with some more hosting tips on the next video. All right, thanks guys. Leave your comments below. Make sure you tick the bell icon and hit the subscribe button, and I'll be sure to answer any questions or respond to you in the comments below. Let's keep it clean. See you next time.